Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to yet another Tin Dog podcast. Very quick one this week because Hello, welcome to another Tin Dog podcast. There's plenty of other things to be talking about, but I just wanted to share a few things with you now. Quick update. Have you entered the Big Finish competition? The Paul Spragg one? Because let's face it, it's finishing this week. You need to get your entry sent off. You've been sat there with it half written on your laptop or in your notebook, just going, I'll get round to sending it, I will. Well, you know what? You need to, because this time it's a bit different. It's based on the First Doctor, and that's the bigger challenge. Think about it. The First Doctor was the mysterious Doctor, was the Doctor we didn't know much about. When he first turns up, he's the Doctor who almost kills a caveman. He considers braining him. He is being made more human by his exposure to... He's being made more human by his exposure to human beings. Not human, but just humane, just better. This is part of his journey, his ongoing quest to basically become more Doctor-like. The Doctor that we know. There's never been a First Doctor story. And you know what? When I sat down to write mine, I realised that I would know the Doctor's voice once I'd started writing it. But where do you start? Because, let's face it, if you're of a certain vintage, there'll be something in your head going, right, I know how Tom speaks, I know how Pertwee speaks, I know how Colin speaks, I know Davison, I know all of the proper, full-on classic Doctors that I grew up with. I've watched every surviving episode of Doctor Who, so I'm familiar with the First Doctor. And I know that Luke is watching them all in order, so he's immersed himself in the First Doctor. But you have to avoid just using the lines that he's spoken in the past out of context. You need to get his essence. The argument that all Doctors are interchangeable is very, very much not the case with the First Doctor. And also, with Big Finish, and specifically the Paul Spragg stories, you've got a few things to consider. Each of the winning entries for the last few years has consisted of, they've got similarities. They're all small narratives. They're all character-based. And then you've got to introduce, and they're not sweeping huge vistas of stories. There's stories that take place in church halls. There's stories that take place in very specific venues. Yes, there's one that visits certain people over the period of time. There's no huge themes, but they all have a very specific feel to them. So you have to have that if you want to win. And you also have to have something that feels very First Doctor. And the First Doctor is difficult to pin down, or at least he was for me while I was trying to write it. Because, and it's not just trying to find his voice, it's trying to capture his essence, but it's trying to capture the essence of the stories. You see, the stories are very much early 60s. One of the tricks that Big Finish use to make episodes feel like they're of the time is to have echoes of other TV shows that are from that time. There are certain episodes which are like the New Avengers, or certain ones which are like the classic Avengers, that kind of thing, which are very 70s or 60s. The new Unit show, that one feels very 90s because it's got shadows of the X-Files. So you could run parallels, but then you start looking at what was popular at the time in the early 60s, and you have to do a lot of research, and that's a rabbit hole that you can go down. But the stories consist mainly of some science fiction, and then you've got the one thing that the First Doctor's got, pure historicals. So then you start going into the realms of, well, which historical stories has Big Finish or indeed Doctor Who not done before? Again, another rabbit hole. So these things will be on your mind when you're writing it. But let's face it, you've got 1 week to get your entry in. Don't mess about. Do it now. Tidy up what you've got and send it off, because you could be that winner for this year. And this year they're also doing an announcement of other people who did particularly well. A sort of, not a second prize, there is no second prize. But it's well worth knowing that you're on the right track, because if you can capture the first Doctor's voice, then you're a damn fine author. So do it now. Don't mess about. Don't go, oh, I'm just not good enough, because you might be. You might have that spark of an idea that captures the first Doctor. Do it now. You know it makes sense. Until next time, well, I'll say something else. And I'll probably be discussing some Big Finish releases, or even commemorating Anthony Stewart Head, the great Giles who died today as I record this. Be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. All topics discussed are the intellectual property of the copyright owners. No infringement is intended. Why not follow the show on Blue Sky at tindogpodcast.bsky.social. If you've enjoyed this podcast on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.